Hello, everybody. It's my privilege to introduce to you, all the way from the south side of Chicago, the man, the myth, the legend, my Theo, your brother, the South Side Unicorn.
Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here.
Hey, it's Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and it is Friday, which means it is Funked Up Friday. That's right. You know, you could almost take any day and make it funked up right about now. This stuff just seems to be coming rat-a-tat-tat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, today's show is in respect and celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation celebration. That's right. Happens on April 19th because it appears to be the day, and I say appears to be, and we'll get into it in the show. It appears to be the day that Abraham Lincoln signed the executive order, and it was an executive order that said, y'all free now. And so today's show is titled, Are We Free Yet? We'll delve into it just a little bit and examine all the different facets that may pose further questions or even answer that question of, are we free yet? But you know what? We may as well go ahead and dive into it. You know what's up. It's Juneteenth, the day that everybody should be happy about, the day that everybody should come together. Because after all, a good thing happened, right? Yeah. June 19th, 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation signed by Abraham Lincoln, whether people want to know it or not, it too was an executive order. Now, had it been signed, during the reign of the 44th president, I guess he would have used a pen and a phone. But yeah, it's an executive order number 95. And we're going to examine, some of the nuances, the facts, 10 things about it that most people never knew. Like for example, let me give you one fact. Fact number one, Lincoln actually issued the Emancipation Proclamation twice. He had to, and here's why. Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862. It stipulated that if the southern states did not cease their rebellion by January 1st, 1863, then the proclamation would go into effect. When the Confederacy did not yield, Lincoln issued the final Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. So, it looks to me, my man was trying to use that as a threat. If y'all don't stop, I'm going to go ahead and free these brothers on you. I don't know, was he sincere or was it just a military ploy? The world may never know. And actually, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Just like my man Rep in Gone with the Wind. Because the bottom line is, we still got something out of it. We got our freedom. Or did we? Another fact about the Emancipation, fact number 2. The Emancipation Proclamation only applied to the states in rebellion. So, were we half free? Were we sort of free? Were we kind of free? Or were we on loan? President Lincoln justified the Emancipation Proclamation as a war measure intended to cripple the Confederacy. Being careful to respect the limits of his authority, Lincoln applied the Emancipation Proclamation only to the southern states in rebellion. Now that's a real mother for you right there. It wasn't a whole deal. It wasn't even wholehearted. It wasn't even full throat. But still, I say thank you. Fact number 3. Lincoln's advisors did not initially support the Emancipation Proclamation. When President Lincoln first proposed the Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet in the summer of 1862, many of the cabinet secretaries were apathetic or worse, worried that the proclamation was too radical. It was only Lincoln's firm commitment to the necessity and justice of the proclamation, along with the victory at Antietam, which finally persuaded his cabinet members to support him. Now check this out, y'all. Abraham Lincoln had some problems. He had people inside his own cabinet, inside his administration. He had war generals who weren't feeling him. They were kind of like trying to set him up and hope that he would fail. He had to fire a whole bunch of them. He was, bumping people off and getting them out. Not bumping them off, I take that back. He was basically discharging generals and whatnot because they weren't fighting with their whole heart. Or they had political ambitions. Or they were backstabbing him and backbiting on him. So when I think about the last two, factoids that I read to you, maybe he was sincere. Maybe he wanted all black people to be free. Maybe he realized he could only do it a little bit at a time. Because see, some people, some African Americans, they want to argue that Lincoln didn't do nothing because he really didn't want to do it. But like they say, a lot of wise people in the radio game and whatnot, they always caution us. You need to judge people in the time upon which they were in. For after all, this president paid the ultimate price for what he did. So the stakes were high and the times were very serious. And could you imagine if they had got to him before Executive Order number 95? See, y'all need to start thinking about this kind of stuff. You need to stop trying to act like you got it all figured out because you got a little beret on your head and a leather coat. There's a lot going on here. And you might be wise to either take a second look and abandon your passions or listen to some other people and add more voices to the conversation. Because today is, after all, Juneteenth. Black men, black women, black boys, and black girls are free. Or are they? The Battle of Antietam, also known as Sharpsburg, provided the necessary Union victory to issue the Emancipation Proclamation. Because, see, you got to be seen as a winner. Just like, let me just make an analogy, draft it over to now. The media, the MSM, the CNN, they're trying so hard to make President Donald J. Trump look like a loser. Because in the psychology of the world, if your president looks like a loser, there goes 2 points. There goes 3 points. But I digress. Let's get back to the battle. President Lincoln had first proposed the Emancipation Proclamation to his cabinet in July 1862, but the Secretary of State, William Seward, suggested waiting for a Union victory so that the government could prove that it could enforce the proclamation. Although the Battle of Antietam resulted in a draw, the Union Army was able to drive the Confederates out of Maryland. Enough of a victory that Lincoln felt comfortable issuing the Emancipation just 5 days later. So much love to our current president, who's about to enjoy another rally post-COVID, or do you want to say during COVID? I say post. But he's about to do a rally, and of course he's going to be seen as a winner because you got 1 million people trying to get up in there. Okay? So there sits Lincoln trying to make sure he looks positive and trying to win. And he's taking every little win he can get, every little step. And it's all for the benefit of who? The Confederacy? The Union? America? Black people? White people? Who was he doing this for? Has anybody ever really asked the motivation of President Abraham Lincoln while he was doing some of the most, as they say, radical things in America at its time? Always look for motivation. Motivation will explain a lot. Some people get married for the strangest motivations. Some people help you for the strangest motivations. Look to the motivation. What was Abraham Lincoln thinking? What was that? What was that Lincoln thinking? There it is. I like that. What was that Lincoln thinking when he tried to push the Emancipation Proclamation? Something that to this very day still strikes ire in the hearts of some. All throughout America today, there are going to be parades, concerts, picnics, all kind of stuff celebrating Juneteenth. We're going to talk more about why it's called Juneteenth as we progress and ebb through this show. But now, you got the president doing this. We're going to go into, factoid number 6. The Emancipation Proclamation changed the focus of the war. Up until September 1862, the main focus of the war had been to preserve the Union. With the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation, freedom for slaves now became a legitimate war aim. Aha! Use the black folks, use the idea of slavery to take their minds off of preserving the Union and just basically winning a war. Sound familiar? Could we take those same motivations and apply them to today? Or am I just getting a little bit too damn deep? I don't know. You be the judge. Because you need to go ahead and chime in. I need to hear from you. Go ahead and chime in on my Twitter page at KenWhite4444 and tell me what you think. What are the motivations here? Like Earth, Wind, and Fire said, the reasons that we're here. What is the reason for that? What was Abraham Lincoln thinking? Or was he just an absolute genius? Or was he a man sent by God to change and make a paradigm shift in the direction that America was headed in? Sound familiar? Because I think I know someone else that God sent to make a paradigm shift, to change the direction that we were headed in. And his name is President Donald J. Trump. I see a lot of similarities between these guys. I hope not too many. But motivation, y'all. What's a person's motivation? What is the Democrats' motivation for always wearing the kente cloth? Or always trying to act like they're the black man's best friend while stabbing us in the back? They smile in your face all the time. They're trying to take your place. The backstabbers. Backstabbers. I should say the Democrats. Democrats. You know what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. Motivations. What's your motivation? What are you doing? Why are you riding with, what is his name? Sleepy Joe Biden. Why are you riding with Sleepy Joe Biden? Especially if you're a freaking American. What's your motivation? What you doing? Why you doing what you doing? I'll explain to you my motivation for following President Donald J. Trump as soon as we get back from this station break. Because after all, motivations is preservation.
She passed by in a black Mercedes. Damn, she fine. The way her body's moving.
I popped the Perrier shoe-way, trying to get the two-way cracking. Me and you back in the back of the back room, acting like you can't come back soon enough to do it rough. Cause you a bluff, but I'm a winner. I can hold, watch your pretty legs go.
Hi, Joy Villa here, reminding you to tune in to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend Ken.
We apologize. We love China. We love playing there. I know for both of us individually, we go there once or twice a year. They show us the most support and love. So we appreciate them as a fan base, and we love everything they're about it. And we appreciate the support that they give us individually and as an organization. So, we love them. We love China. We love, playing there. I know for both of us individually, we go there, once or twice a year. They show us the most support and love. So, we appreciate them as a fan base, and we love everything they're about it. They show us the most support and love. So, we appreciate them as a fan base, and we love everything they're about it. So, we appreciate them as a fan base, and we love everything they're about it. They show us the most support and love. So, they show us the most support and love. So, they show us the most support and love. So.
Hey, we're back with the second segment of Funked Up Fridays. Today's show is, Are We Free Yet? And before we ended on the first segment, I was kind of talking about motivations and why people are doing what they're doing and what makes them either decide to do something or not do something. I was asking why, African Americans are riding with Sleepy Joe Biden. Why are you riding with Biden? What's your motivation? And then I promised that on the second segment, when we came back, I would be true to my own word, and I would tell you what my motivation is for being ride to die with President Donald J. Trump. Because at the end of the day, it's like this. You got this chick, and I'm going to do that. I always do allegories, metaphors, whatever you want to call them. I think making pictures makes things make more sense. You got this chick. You've been kicking it with her for 40 years. 40 years, man. And every time you try to trust her, every time you try to believe in her, she's stepping out on you. She's throwing you under the bus. You know what I'm saying? Basically, just cheating on you, doing you dirty, man. She's doing you dirty. You go, you say, honey, I got this new job. It's going to be great, but I got to go out of town for 2 weeks. Oh, I'm so happy for you, baby. We're going to make lots of money. I'll have dinner ready for you when you get back. But the problem is, the job ended early. Now you home a week early, actually, in the morning time to boot. And you open up the door to your house, and you like, honey, I'm home. And you hear these strange sounds and all of that. Like Mr. Big in that episode that was on YouTube. It was so cool. It was, ironically, it was R. Kelly and Mr. Big. You got to check that out. We'll talk about that another day. But, he comes in the house, and what do you see? Your girl, man, you may as well have just put up the cameras and the lights and got some money out of that, if you know what I mean. That goes on for 40 years. Now, somewhere in there, if you actually have some dignity, D-I-G-N-I-T-Y. I'll spell it for you so you can go look it up in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Because some of y'all don't. Dignity. If you got a little bit of it, just a little. Don't need a whole lot either. Somewhere in there, you're going to get tired of that happening. You go out with her and some cat cutting eyes at her and all of that. You know what I'm talking about. Well, that's the Democrat Party, y'all. In relationship to African Americans, to Africans, to Negroes, to blacks. They always stepping out on us. Always making promises. Always saying tomorrow they gonna do better. Always saying they ain't nowhere near as tired. But they are tired. And somebody got to get tired. Either they gonna get tired or we gonna get tired. So here's my answer as to why I'm ride to die with President Donald J. Trump. Because you're sitting there and you're feeling all rejected and dejected. Not that I've ever been a Democrat, because I haven't. But I got to make this story make sense somehow, don't I? So there you sit on a park bench, tears rolling down your eyes, crying and feeling all bad. And why won't she love me? Talking about the Democrat Party. I done everything she wanted me to do. I even bought her stuff and went without. She drives the best car and I'm out here driving a hoopty. Why won't she love me? That's you African Americans, you Negroes, you blacks that are ride to die to vote for Biden. Sitting on a park bench. Sitting on a park bench. Because that's what Biden does. Eyeing little girls with bad intent. Hey, Aqualung. Snot running down his nose. That's Biden. Oh, pedophile freak. So anyway, there you are. See, I get carried away a little bit, so I got to bring it on back. I got to bring it back around. So there you are. There you are. Sitting on a park bench. And all of a sudden, this fine superstar, dime piece, red bone, whatever you want to say, sits down next to you on the park bench. Don't say nothing in the beginning. Just sits down next to you. And so you try to straighten yourself up a little bit. You look over there, you're like, Whoa. And as pleasantly as possible, she says, hi. And you say hi back. But now, some fools try to walk by because, see, she's dealt with fools because she's beautiful. She got her act together, billionaire, whole 9 yards. And some fools walk by and they talk trash to her. Well, she ain't no weeping willow. She ain't no cream puff. She ain't no pansy. She got heart. She's strong. And she will not put up with anybody's foolishness. So while you're sitting there checking her out, she pops back off to them fools with womp, 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 womp. And you go, man, how can something that fine be talking like that? But all them busters and rusters and crusters that was talking trash, oh, they kept stepping. Because, see, when somebody comes at evil and terrible people with strength, all they can do is talk trash and keep walking. So now, she listened to your story about how you got dogged out for 40 years. She didn't say you was a damn fool. She didn't think you was crazy. She didn't even laugh at you, which she could have. She could have said all three, but she didn't. She listened to your story, took a little compassion on your situation, even though, you're looking a little rough for wear, because, you done seen 10 or 12 black men be shot every week. Poverty is still just as good as ever, even though that woman of yours back at the house said, I'm going to make you rich. You just watch me. I'm going to bring you out of poverty. I'm going to bring you into some prosperity. Life's going to get good for you, baby. That's what that trick back at the house that promised you. But you're looking a little shabby in that park on that bench. Your coat all woe down, shoe worn to the side, out trying to do flyers for her so she can keep her job as the alderman of your community, talking about that trick back in your bed. But now the woman on the bench is looking at you and going, needs a little work. But I understand that that's a good person over there, even though they ain't got the money I got, even though they don't even smell as good as I smell. Even though if I got up off this park bench right now and went back to my mansion, like Mar-a-Lago or something like that, my life is fine. I'm going to be all right. Now, even though sitting at that park bench is costing her money just to be next to you, she still sits there. And after a while, she says, hey, look at here. I know this might be a little bit forward. Maybe this ain't how women normally supposed to do it. But how about you kick it with me for a little while? And you're like, huh? What? And so she finishes the story just like this. What have you got to lose? Wow. Now that's what you're supposed to think. That's what you're supposed to be honest with yourself. You're supposed to say, yeah, what have I got to lose? And if you're smart, and if self-preservation is somewhere inside of you, if you got just a little bit of dignity, D-I-G-N-I-T-Y, dignity, you're going to get that number and you're going to give her your number, and then you're going to promptly go home and tell that trick in your bed to get the hell out. You're going to be throwing stuff out the window. You're going to be throwing her clothes down the stairs. Don't burn them. That's like looting and rioting. And you got to up your game because now you working with something a whole lot better than what you had. She burnt your clothes like 10 years ago because she got mad at you. She got pissed off, because that's how Democrats do it. They get pissed off. They get mad at you. They go to tearing up your property, defaming you, harming you. But now you still got memories of that woman you met at the park. And she was all game. Granted, she may have had a history before she came to that park. But the person sitting in that park was all together and all about you. Now, I switched the genders on that on purpose. Because I need you to start thinking outside the box, y'all. Not no LGBTQ, not no XYZ, not no black, not no white, not no guy, not no girl. I know y'all thinking, but Trump is a man, and you could have done it another way and said it this way. No. I did it the way I meant to do it because I need you to start thinking. That's why I ride to die with President Donald J. Trump, because that's pretty much what he represents in this game. All the rest of these punk, they've been here for 30 and 40 and 50 years. And I cannot believe what I'm looking at. Here we are supposed to be celebrating Juneteenth, Emancipation Proclamation. Every black man and woman that has died, that you're out there burning and looting for, died in Democrat cities, Democrat strongholds with black mayors, black chief of police, all that stuff. And you want to go back to the park and blame the woman that's sitting on the bench, waiting for you so she can show you something better. How stupid you gonna look? You go march in your crooked shoe, tight clothes wearing butt back over to the park, and you gonna blame her for what that trick in that bed did to you. Are we free yet? Did you just get free? Emancipation Proclamation. Now, I asked you about motivations. I'm going to finish this thought, and we're going to get on off into that third segment too. But fact number 7, and this is a good one, y'all. The Emancipation Proclamation helped to prevent the involvement of foreign nations into the Civil War. Why? Here's why. Britain and France had considered supporting the Confederacy in order to expand their influence in the Western Hemisphere. However, or howsoever, as my mama would say, many Europeans were against what? Slavery. Although some in the United Kingdom saw the Emancipation Proclamation as overly limited and reckless, Lincoln's directive reinforced the shift of the international political mood against the intervention, while the Union victory at Antietam further disturbed those who didn't want to intervene on the side of a lost cause. It's important not to look like a loser. So don't be walking around looking like no loser. The only reason you would be supporting tired Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden, is if you're a loser. And if you do support him, you're going to be looking just like a loser. Don't do it. That should tell you what's up with all this Southern stuff that even the other countries didn't want to try to kick it with them because it was too racist for them. This is Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show. We'll be right back after these messages.
You are listening to the Southside Unicorn Show, hosted by my friend, Ken White. He'll be back after these messages.
Hey, we're back for the third segment of the Southside Unicorn Show. First and second segment was, just mixing it up about, Juneteenth. Are we free yet? Just throwing some of my stuff at you. That's why you got to catch it from the beginning. You got to listen to the show from the beginning to the end. You got to add it into today's current context, and you're going to start to see. And I guess, I need to become more consistent. Maybe that's what it is. But I need your help to be able to do that. You need to donate to the show. Donations can take on many forms. Donations can be, give me an hour of your time. Give the show a complete hour of your time. Start from beginning to end. Listen to it. It's monetized for right now. So if you go through all of the show from beginning to end, that'll help. If you retweet it, if you share it, if you like it, that'll help. If you feel so inclined, drop a couple dollars at the show. You can do that. Just go to Twitter at Ken White 4444, and you'll see all the different ways that you can donate to the show. Anything is appreciated and accepted because, I wish I could do 2 hours. I wish my equipment was strong enough that I could do a whole lot more stuff that I would love to do for you all. Because being here and sharing my perspectives on the day's events, I'm sure you're getting something out of it. I'm sure you're enjoying it. I know I am. I enjoy all of you, especially my unicorn fairies out there. Love you all. Thank you so much for, donating the information and whatnot that you do to the show. It makes a great difference, and it lets me know that you're out there, hearing what I'm putting down. And that really means a lot to me. So I just want to say, thank you for that. And let's continue with the show. I want to come at LL Cool J. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, which is the Saturday show. But right now we're gonna talk a little bit, and I'll save some for tomorrow too. So be sure to tune in for Saturday too. We're gonna talk a little bit about my man, Dave Chappelle. I like Dave Chappelle. I've never laughed so hard before in my life than listening to a performance of Dave Chappelle. The Dave Chappelle Show is on my likes as far as Netflix and all that stuff goes. I like Dave Chappelle. I was worried about him when he went a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I won't, talk about it too much because I ain't trying to really knock the brother down. But I do want to talk about that 8-minute and 46-second Netflix that he did. I listened to it. You all listened to it too. And I got some problems, y'all. I got a couple issues with my bruh. In my opinion, it sounded like a call to insurrection. It sounded like a call for an uprising to me. Sounded like he was trying to tell young black people, keep on burning, keep on tearing it up, keep on doing what you're doing. And that troubles me. Maybe you can help me. What was your opinion about that show? Is that what he was doing? Or was he just letting off a little steam? Because to me, it just didn't sit right, y'all. I was listening to him. I was down with it. He even talked about Dorner. I've had associations with Dorner before he made the decisions that he made. And I don't think that Dave Chappelle was qualified or has enough information about who this man was to be speaking on him. I think he kind of gave him a bad portrayal in that matter. But that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Then, I want to talk about how he talked about some females. How he came at Candace Owens, and Laura Ingraham. Now, I know he's a comedian. I know he gets artistic license and all that. And some of it's like poetic prose or whatever. But look at here. And I want you to get this one real quick. We're going to talk about it some more tomorrow. But I want you to get this, y'all. I want you to get this in this regard as a reflection of who we are and who we've become and where we're headed and where we better not go because we're getting too comfortable with it, you see. Because in his 8 minutes and 46 seconds, he tried to tell us that we don't want to hear from stars and celebrities. All the while, as a star and a celebrity, he's talking smack. I mean, there were so many paradoxical oxymorons in that 8 minutes and 46 seconds that it kind of blew me back. I was almost drawn in just like you guys. He's got the cigarette in his hand. He's got the book, and I could almost swear there wasn't no words on them pages. I tried to look real close. I don't think I saw no words on those pages, but everybody's worried about Trump having the Bible upside down. I looked and I listened. And I was rolling with him for a minute. And then he started talking about all the people who've lost their lives. And some of them have lost their lives to law enforcement in the most redunculous ways I've ever heard of in my life. Oh, you gonna get me supporting some of this stuff because, okay, for example, pardon me. When it comes to George Floyd, I think I almost want to sue the Minnesota Police Department. We should all make a class action lawsuit. And why? Because I cannot unsee what I saw. And it has troubled me from the day I saw it. May 25th, that man was murdered on a video in broad daylight by a man wearing a police officer's uniform. And can you all please stop calling him a cop? I used to be a cop, both in the military and civilian. Don't call that man a cop, please. That's why you're out there wilding and acting a damn fool. because you're so ready to make the blanket statement that they all like that and that they all should get it. Because, after all, that's what Dave Chappelle tried to tell us. He said, no, this ain't for a single cop. It's for all of it. It's for all of it. I'm going to say something and I'm going to get back off of it real quick. Have you ever got a whooping or been punished and you can see or understand that it's not you being punished? You're being punished for something that somebody else did a long time ago to hurt somebody. But there you are. You just happen to be in their grips, in their sight. And they unleash all that anger, all that angst, all that bitterness onto you. Is that fair? Is that right? Well, that's what we're doing to the 99.9% of good peace officers out there who were the kids. And I'm saying that because I was like that. They're that kid that when you were in the schoolyard about to get your butt handed to you, they were the ones that stepped in between you and the bully with their hands stretched out going, no, break it up, break it up. How many of us know right now in your memory you can see that kid? Break it up, don't fight. That's the heart and spirit of the average American police officer. But Dave Chappelle says all these shootings, all these cops getting murdered, all this fire and burning and looting, it's for all of it. It's for all of it. He sounds like one of them angry bullies from the schoolyard right about then. And to add insult to injury, he then had to bring young Michael Brown into it as if though he was some kind of victim. And right there is when my brakes went, hold up, partner. The gentle giant wasn't so gentle. He is not a victim. And you blew it, Dave Chappelle, putting him next to true victims. You put Michael Brown next to George Floyd. George Floyd was a no-joke, bona fide victim of a thing called the abuse of authority under the color, abuse under the color of authority. That's what George Floyd suffered. What the hell did Michael Brown suffer? He tried to kill a police officer by doing what? Taking his weapon and trying to bust a cap on him. How do we know? Because Dr. Michael Biden, the same doctor that's getting a whole lot of work right now from a lot of bereaved black families whose people are being murdered, he made the autopsy and the preliminary and the report that Brown was an aggressor, that Brown was trying to murder a police officer. So, Mr. Chappelle, that's one of the points where you kind of lost me, bruh. And then, I hope y'all still listening out there. He goes on to call Candace Owens and what's her name? Let me make sure I get it right because I don't like getting people's names wrong. Laura Ingraham. He goes on to call them the C word, y'all. The C word. Now, you got to remember, you're supposed to still be mad at President Donald J. Trump because allegedly he using the P word. He's out there allegedly grabbing people in the P when it was nothing more than a social commentary in second person of him stating the condition of Hollywood, the depravity of Hollywood. That's what President Donald J. Trump was alluding to and speaking on when those words were spoke. But here's Dave Chappelle calling women in front of other women the C word. That's a word that ain't never supposed to be used. I don't care if you are a comedian. He wasn't at that time. He was trying to be serious. He even said so. So do you get it? How far down the road you're being dragged away from your own freedoms? Because these people are trying to tell you how to think, how to feel. He pops you with some platitudes. You kids are doing great. I'm going to just sit here in the back seat while y'all drive. Well, to hell with Dave Chappelle. You cannot drive the car yet, okay? Because you going to try to run it into the road. If you see the American flag, you're going to try to crash into it. You are not mature enough to drive the car yet. That's Ken White talking. That's the Southside Unicorn talking. I'm talking to you like your big brother, like an OG, like your dad. I'm keeping it real. Get your butt out of that seat and you better read the rules on how to drive this car. This car is motivated and controlled by the Constitution of the United States of America and, of course, a manual from the DMV. And Dave Chappelle trying to pump you in the head with, y'all doing a good job. I'm going to just sit back here and let y'all drive. No. Sit y'all butts down and start listening to the truth. Case in point, he kept working on 846. And I understand. He was born at 846. You know, his father died at 846. I get all those, similes and whatnot. But at the same time, I was born on the 17th of February, 1964, the exact same date of the Civil Rights Act. I was born 1 hour after it was signed. And thank you, Lord God, for that, because that means I was born as a human being. So we want to get all off into that numerology. Let's just go ahead and do it this way. Let me help you out a little bit with him popping this 846 on Netflix, because see, there's always two sides to the story. John, get this out of the New King James Version of the Bible. John 8:46. Which of you convicts me of sin? And if I tell the truth, why do you not believe me? See, the truth is being spoke. President Donald J. Trump is speaking the truth, and still they won't believe. Let me give you another 846. Luke 8:46. This is from Jesus himself. Somebody touched me. I perceived power going out from me because somebody believed on him. Had the issue of blood going on with her. Read your Bible. You'll see. That's an 846 for you. They believed in him. Couldn't get close to him. Couldn't get quite there. But reached out for the hem of his gown. And doing even that much, power, dunamos, came out. In these trying times, I want you to go for some 846. But please make it John 8:46. Please make it Luke 8:46. And not Chappelle 8:46. Do not be deceived, young people. The breadcrumbs are being laid down. I hope you get a hold of it. I hope you start following it. Because this is real stuff we're doing. You need to listen to the Southside Unicorn Show a little bit more. Speaking of which, we got a station break to take. And we'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. I'm kind of busy.
The Southside Unicorn Show is my favorite. Why? Because host Ken White tells the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, no matter how controversial. I love it.
Yes, sir.
What's your name, boy?
Mayo. Zach Mayo, sir.
How did you slip into this program? I didn't know the Navy was so hard up.
You got an injury there, Mayo? Not exactly, sir.
Hey, this is really wonderful work. Where'd you get this, Mayo?
Subic Base, Philippines, sir.
You ought to recognize the work. Be proud of them wings. They're the only ones you're gonna leave here with. Mayonnaise.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Josh from Art Trio. You go check me out on YouTube. I discuss 3 topics 3 times a week. You are listening to my friend Ken White on the Southside Unicorn Show. Let's go.
Hey, it's Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are back for the 4th and last segment of this here show. Man, it goes so fast. Go ahead and make those donations. Go ahead and keep listening to the show so these commercial folks will hook a brother up. You know what I'm saying? And then I can keep stretching it out and going longer and longer, getting stronger and stronger. But I can only do it with your love and support. That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, today's show is called Are We Free Yet? We've touched on some subjects. I want to be true to those facts about the Emancipation Proclamation. Let me go ahead and knock out number 9 real quick. The Emancipation Proclamation led the way to the total abolition of slavery in the United States. With the Emancipation Proclamation, the aim of the war changed to include the freeing of slaves in addition to preserving the Union. Aha! I knew Abraham Lincoln was smarter than that. I knew that man was doing something very deep. It looks like he had divine guidance, just like somebody else I know. Although the proclamation initially freed only the slaves in the rebellious states, by the end of the war, the proclamation had influenced and prepared citizens to advocate and accept abolition for all slaves in both the North and the South. The 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in the United States, was passed on December 6, 1865, almost a perfect 100 years before I would be born. Fact number 10. Lincoln considered the Emancipation Proclamation the crowning achievement of his presidency. So, just as I suspected when we were talking about it in the second and third segments, it wasn't just a military ploy. It wasn't just some tactic. He believed in this, but he also understood the conditions, the tenuous conditions of the times upon which he lived, and that he had to take step by step, small measures. He wasn't trying to go for the gusto. Not all at once. And I believe his vision was even beyond his own lifetime, understanding that he'd have to pass the torch and that it would have to be in increments to get to where he was trying to get. For the hearts of men is deep and wicked indeed. And when you're dealing with evil sponsored by the Dark One himself, you better be careful. Because if you go after a possessed issue or possessed thing, just like it says in Scripture, they can send you running 1,000 different ways with your hair turning bleach white and your clothes getting ripped off if you ain't totally prepared or you don't take it in proper steps with the Lord lockstep with you hand in hand. Because that's what it looks like Abraham Lincoln exactly did. Let me continue. Heralded as the savior of the Union, President Lincoln actually considered the emancipation to be the most important aspect of his legacy. Quote, I never in my life felt more certain that I was doing right than I do in signing this paper, he declared. Quote, if my name ever goes into history, it will be for this act, and my whole soul is in it. Isn't it ironic he would mention his soul? Because I believe that when we turn our backs on the will of God, we put our souls at risk. There's another story about Abraham Lincoln. It's a supernatural story. I'll share it with you on tomorrow's show. So make sure you tune in so I can hit you up about it and you'll get this. There is a verified, documented, supernatural story about Abraham Lincoln. And you will be surprised to hear it if you don't already know about it. There's also one attached to President Donald J. Trump, too. There's a lot of similarities going on here. But the trick of it is, neither man has tried to just take it all at once. They both weathered a lot of blistering hate from the exact same people. Democrats. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. President Donald J. Trump is a Republican. Both of them are under blistering attack or were subjected to it by Democrats. Now, we know about Aunt Jemima. You know, by the time I get in and start chiming in on this, a lot of talking heads have already spoke on it and done this and that. So you know that Nancy Green was the real Aunt Jemima, that she started off as a slave, but she ended up as an entrepreneur. She was a businesswoman making her chips. Now, I just want to say this real quick because I'm going to go ahead and make a meme about it, unless one of you guys beat me to it before I get off this here show. Isn't it ironic that Nancy Green, a former slave, having tasted the true bitterness of bondage, not one time did she ask for reparations, and she was fresh off the skillet. She was hot off the griddle when it comes to slavery. And she never once asked for reparations. She took her freedom and she made it do what it do. And she passed away a millionaire and a loved human being by a lot of people out of Chicago, some of them white. Yeah. But then, as some of you may not know, a woman named Anna Short Harrington, she filled in the position of Aunt Jemima when Green passed away. She was discovered in 1935. She worked as the Aunt Jemima mama, or woman, please, she worked as the Aunt Jemima mama. I can't believe I said that. But you know what I mean, y'all. She had the job. And she was flipping pancakes and doing her thing for over 20 years. And then she left. But now, check this out. Her great-grandson, he wants to sue Quaker Oats and everybody because he says that he's getting disenfranchised by them removing the image of Aunt Jemima from the pancake box and the syrup and all of that. Well, first of all, your great-grandmother wasn't the original woman. She's like, no offense, I'm not trying to be offensive, I'm just trying to paint a picture here of business. She's like Lassie number 10. Bet y'all didn't know there was like over 20 Lassies. I didn't know it until I was a grown man, and I'm so glad I found out later in life and not while I was watching that show. Hey, it's an image. It's a product. But now this cat, he wants $2 billion in reparations. Now ain't that something? Instead of recognizing the true problem, which is they're removing the statues. They're removing Aunt Jemima. Hell, when it comes to Abraham Lincoln, kids are gonna ask, well, why is this man so great? He freed the slaves, and then people are gonna try to say, yeah, he freed the slaves, because see, they can't really mess with Abraham Lincoln, right? But here's the problem to the Democrat madness. Here's the problem to the Democrat fallacies. You're gonna remove all these war generals, Brigadier General Adams Johns, Brigadier General Williams Adams, Brigadier General Alexander Porter, Brigadier General Henry Watkins. You're going to take away all these generals. General Lee. You're going to take away Fort Bragg. You're going to just take all that away because you Democrats needed to inoculate the children with the poison toxicity of racism. But here comes the trick bag. When you try to explain who the hell Abraham Lincoln is, what are you going to tell them? That he was the best shadow boxer in the world? Because there will not be any backdrop. You're destroying the backdrop. Those generals with the horse rampant who died in battle on their statues of battles. I bet you didn't know that. Did you know that if the right leg of a horse is raised up and that horse is kind of standing up, that means the person riding that horse died in combat? If all four legs are down on the ground, that means that person simply died of old age. All these things are about to be forgotten, y'all. Aunt Jemima. Aunt Jemima is the perfect example of how you're supposed to, what? Forgive, Dave Chappelle. And move into something new. The people that can teach us the most, they're trying to get rid of. When it comes to money, let's go ahead real quick and talk about my man, what is his name? His name is Wiley Gustafson. He's the band leader of a band called Wiley and the Wild West. You might not know who he is unless I go, Yahoo! That's right. He's the man that made the Yahoo sound for the website yahoo.com. In the beginning, they paid him $506 to make that sound. It would be years later that he would hear it in all over the world. He'd hear it everywhere. And he went back at Yahoo and said, y'all got to come up with some more chips. And they did happily. But this brother wants $2 billion for an image that's not really his grandmother's image. She was a sub-in. We're making ourselves look foolish, y'all. That ain't how free people act. That ain't how somebody acts that's got sense. Let me tell you how a free person acts. They act just like my man Chiwetel Ejiofor. Okay? This man was a free man, but he was taken as a slave and taken back down into the deep, deep South back in the 1800s. And he was now a slave. He was a man that was free, but then he became a slave. But he was smart. He kept his dignity. He was smart about how he dealt with his slave master, Michael Fassbender, because that's who took him into slavery. And that man was smart enough to pick his battles. He was smart enough to survive. He was smart enough to remember who he was. Until one day, an abolitionist, that would be a Republican, but this one just happened to be Canadian, but it was an abolitionist, which is a conservative Christian person, came into contact with Chiwetel Ejiofor and got word to people who could come down into the South and help him get his freedom back. That man's real name was Solomon Northup. That man's story was turned into a movie that has stuck with me all my life called 12 Years a Slave. I watched that movie and I watched him in it. I saw a lot of myself. I saw it as a caricature of African Americans in America, African Americans, how we should be reacting. That's why I begged you all who stole stuff. That's not your stuff. Take it back. Just like scripture said, if I take even a shoelace or a sandal strap, you can say that you made Abraham rich. We don't need that, y'all. We need to preserve our dignity. D-I-G-N-I-T-Y. And calling women the C word, Dave Chappelle, is not preserving anyone's dignity. And it doesn't open the road to anything peaceable. Trying to act like LeBron James, which I'm sure you heard during the bumper, you know, he loves China. Think about that while you remember Dave Chappelle's 8 minutes and 46 seconds and him trying to pump LeBron James up. Are we free yet? Or do we still have a long way to go? I think before we can really concern ourselves with a lot of these things that are happening, a lot of the trick bag that's being laid out in front of us, we better sit down and have that talk for real. I think Juneteenth is a beautiful starting off point. Are we free yet? We need to start having a conversation, America and Black America with Black America. You got conservative blacks, liberal blacks. You got T-Pain over there talking all that foolishness. This is Wakanda here. No, Wakanda wasn't an unjust place. Wakanda had the white wolf, and they brought him in, and they gave him shelter, and they nursed him back to health, and they treated him with dignity and respect. They didn't put laws on him that were so hypocritical that it makes you look crazy. I almost used a word I better not use. That's your Wakanda, T-Pain? Where on one day a taser is a deadly weapon because it was pointed against people you want to boister up, and then on the next day, because it's somebody you don't like, is no longer a deadly weapon? That's your Wakanda, T-Pain? These are fools, ladies and gentlemen. Stop listening to them. Start getting yourself into a Bible-based church. Start getting into some of them scriptures like John 8:46, Luke 8:46. Those things will do you good. Hey, thank you for sharing this time with me. There's no place I'd rather be. Nothing more I'd rather do than being right here doing this show for you. This is Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and we are out.